Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Gaming Daddy channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Oh my goodness. I just want to go ahead and say thank you guys so much for all of your support. It's really important that these conversations continue to go on. And so, it's very, very interesting that here in our community of division agents, we can talk about a lot of the issues pertaining to our game. And many times we can get some of the results that we want, even though we know that our hands are tied and also the hands of the developers themselves because of the way games are structured. But nonetheless, we keep our conversations going because this is one of the video games that's important to us. As it stands right now, the Division 2 and the Division franchise is still showing itself to be a solid entry as to what RPG looter shooters look like in this day and age. Maybe in another day, another time, another age, RPG looter shooters will be better than what we have now. But for now, this is what we have. And so what we have to do is look at what we have and say, perhaps this is how we could be made better. Anyways, this video is pretty much a video on kind of the play style of a lot of the community members and some of the things that, even me myself as a, creator and even a division agent has been, I've been engaging in the past few weeks. And that is the other games that we play as division agents. So many of you know that, as a division agent, one of the things that you have to do for your sanity is you have to play other video games. One of my favorite pastimes when I'm not playing the Division 2 is Batman Arkham Knight. I really enjoy the game. This is one of the best made games out there. This is a game that was made in 2013, and even playing the game in today's day and age, it's so interesting to see how much work, how much effort, and just how much, I don't know, you have to say complications went into a video game like this from many different aspects. Nonetheless, I'll still tell you that even with its complexities, even with all of the beautiful nature of the game in terms of rendering a good looking game, a game that could pass for a game that came out yesterday, The Division is still a game that still holds a lot of my interest in, in the long run. There's no doubt about that. But still, there are other players in the community who play other games as well. Now, yes, some of you know I play Mortal Kombat 11. I've actually deleted that for now because the development of that game basically said, we're no longer going to support this game. And so I was like, well, at that rate, what's the point in playing right now? Because the game is pretty much going to go stale. Maybe if I have nothing else to do or no other game to play, then I might go ahead and engage. The reason I haven't deleted the Division 2, on the other hand, is because the developers have not mentioned anything to that effect. If anything, they've mentioned the opposite. So pretty much we're waiting for whatever it is that they said they're going to drop in order for us to be able to engage in the game. And at that point, I honestly don't want to be downloading another 90 gigs worth of files, so I just left it on there anyways. But I have been taking a break playing Batman and getting back into some of the old titles that I'm usually used to playing, and I'm certain a lot of division agents do this from time to time. I believe that in regard to looter shooters, this is kind of the unannounced intent of how these games should be played, because what I've noticed is the longer you play a video game, the more you start to see its problems and its issues. The shortcomings and the errors, they all start to become more and more apparent as you put in a lot more time to it. So things that may have, looked really good eventually start to look very poor because of the amount of time that's actually spent and invested in them. And so that being said, I think that's one of the things that has kept a lot of division agents actually playing the game, because, you really have to put yourself in a position where you take some time away in order for you to be able to come back and everything becomes fresh. Now, this is not saying that we need to look away from the shortcomings of the game, not at all. But this is saying that at the point where you reach a few thousand hours, you really have to ask yourself, what more are you looking for in a game that's actually granted you a lot of hours of playtime and giving you a lot of that value? Because even though I may say, okay, I play other games, like I play, Arkham Knight, I still have not played even a fraction of the time, that I've actually spent on the Division 2 on this particular game. Yes, if you look at my Steam account for Batman Arkham Knight, I have about somewhere around, I don't know, not even a quarter of the amount of time I have on one of my Division accounts. And now, yes, I have played on other platforms as well. I have the game on other platforms, but still it does not compare to the amount of time I've actually spent playing the Division, making content for the Division, and actually discussing the game itself. So this is one of the important things that a lot of gamers, especially in this community, really do recognize. Now, when you even kind of think about it, one thing that is also at the heart of the community currently, that's currently bothering a lot of people, and I must say this, is, the drop date for the new content that's been promised. Because one thing that, you can see, and it's not an impossibility, is that the new content that the developers have said they're going to drop later down the road could be, undropped. And basically, they could just announce and say, we are not able to do this content anymore. We're just going to be moving on with our next project, and nothing is going to happen. It's just going to be, a situation where we're just going to be looking and saying, well, I guess that sucks, because that's exactly what the developers at NRS did. They went silent for 9 months and did not say anything. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they said to their community, we're no longer going to be supporting this game. Now, this doesn't mean that, Ubisoft Massive is going to do the same thing, but you have to keep your mind open to that possibility. And so when the Division craze, for this particular game is, pretty much over, because even if they bring out this new content, the Division is still going to reach its end of life. Ubisoft Massive is part of the Ubisoft coalition of, development teams that make sequels and love making sequels. And so when this is over, a sequel or some other game is going to come down the road. And I think one really important thing is, even when that sequel comes down the road, a lot of these things have to be set up at the back of our minds. So one really interesting, dynamic that I have to say is, a game like Outriders, and I have to say this because Outriders did come out with its propensity to take a lot of shots at games like Destiny and The Division. They mentioned how they didn't intend for the game to have a lot of this extra live service, updating going on. And a lot of people thought this was a good thing. Well, here is the problem with that is, even though they made it sound like a good thing, it actually was not good, because the game's setup is designed like other games that take the longest time to extend their packages, basically granting more content over time, granting more DLC. And so for them to be able to come out and say, we're going to do it this way, I think the experiments pretty much gave the results that, would be, in a realistic sense, that if players don't have anything to do after the game is over, they're done. And for a looter shooter, for you to keep it as a closed-ended loop is actually not good. So I think Outriders pretty much, in a sense, failed, because even the little that it decided to provide, it provided with a lot of problems and a lot of issues. So when People Can Fly comes back to the table to bring out another game, they're going to be judged heavily on what they did with Outriders. And I think when The Division comes back to bring out another game, it's going to be a whole different framework. But now what we're going to do is we're going to wait and see how, Heartland actually turns out, because I think for now that's going to be a free-to-play game. We're going to see how that actually works. We're going to see how the community of gamers take on this particular franchise when it comes out. But again, like I said, for now, it's just interesting to see how the communities of different gamers for games that are in a live support setting are approaching these games, and some of them even shunning these games. So that's pretty much what I wanted to make this video about. I just wanted to go ahead and check in on the community and say thanks so much for all of your support, and even tell you guys that, I've been taking a very good break, and I'm sure many of you are, and I'll be coming back very soon to playing some more Division. I mean, no doubt the game is actually fun to play, but you really got to give yourself a break and, or you delete the game, whatever it is you want to do. Talk to me in the comment section. What are you doing with The Division right now? Hopefully we'll see you soon. Peace out.